Hello guys, welcome back to my channel Learning Junction. Today we are going to discuss about a CILAPPATIKARAM. It is a combination of two words. That's a Silambu, that's a anklet, and Adikaram, that's the story about. But this two combination of the name anklet and the story about with the combination, it is called as the tale of the anklet. CILAPPATIKARAM is one of the five great Tamil epic of Sangam literature. The writer of this Tamil poem is Eliango Adigil. He is the greatest poet and a brother of Chera king Saint Kutuvan. This poem is considered as one of the five great epics of the Tamil literature in the 5th and 6th century CE. Eliango Adigil is considered a Jain monk and his work reflects Jain principles including non-violence and karma. His contribute to Tamil literature remains unparalleled, making CILAPPATIKARAM a timeless masterpiece. Moving further, the epic is divided into three cantos, that is kantams, subdivided into kantais. The three divisions were made according to the Tamil kingdoms. First, the Puhar Kandam, the book of Puhar. The second is Madurai Kandam, that is book of Madurai. And the third is Vanchi Kandam, that's a book of Vanchi. All these three books I will explain in detail with the story, with the pictures so that y'all can understand it better. Before that, I would like to explain a little bit of literally styled and poetic features of CILAPPATIKARAM. Eliango Adigil is known for its unique literary style and rich poetic elements. It blends prose and poetry while incorporating various artistic and structural features that enhance its beauty and path. First, we have narrative style, that is fusion of prose and poetry. It is a combination of prose and verse, a distinctive style in classical Tamil literature. Prose sections are used for description and storytelling, while poetic verses enhance emotional depth and artistic expression. This mix of prose and poetry makes the work both lyrical and dramatic. Next, we have Akam and Puram themes. That's a inner and outer life. Akam, inner life, that is personal emotion, love, and domestic life. And with regards to Puram, that's the outer life, society, war, justice, and politics. The third point is use of Sangam poetic conventions. That is, first we have a Thinai, that's a landscape based poetry. That is, different landscapes symbolize different emotions. First is Marutham, that's a farmland, domestic life of Kovelan and Kanagi. Second, we have Nithal, that's a seashore, Madhavi's life as a courtesan in Puhar. Next, we have Palai, desert, Kovelan and Kanagi's struggle in exile. Then we have Kurinji, that's a mountain, the journey to Madurai. Fourth, we have similes and metaphors. The epic is rich in similes and metaphors. For example, Kanagi's range is compared to goddess Kali's wrath, emphasizing her transformation from a mortal woman to a divine force of justice. Next, we have musical and dance elements. CILAPPATIKARAM contain extensive description of music and dance, reflecting the rich culture and a varied life of ancient Tamil society. Madhavi's performance include references to classical Tamil music and Bharatanatyam style dance, making the epic artistic as well as literally. Next, we have folk and oral tradition. The storytelling techniques borrow from folk ballads and oral traditions, making it accessible to common people. The rhythm and repetition of key phrases enhance its oral performance quality, which was important in ancient Tamil literary culture. Further, we have philosophical and didactic elements. The work is not just a story but also a moral and philosophical text. The justice theme reflects Tamil ethical and moral values. Much like Sanskrit epics such as the Ramayana and Mahabharata, it teaches that righteousness, dharma, always prevail and injustice leads to destruction. Further, we have the Sanskrit and Tamil traditions. While deeply rooted in Tamil literary traditions, Silappatikaram also reflects Sanskrit epic influences. The structure, divine intervention, and a poetic grandeur are similar to Hindu Itihas, that's epic tales like the Ramayana. Here we have Akkam and Puram are two major thematic categories. Skillfully integrates both themes, making it a unique literary work that portrays both personal emotions and societal justice. In this slide, we have the Akkam theme focuses on love, relationship, and personal emotion. It represents the intimate and emotional struggle of individuals, especially those concerning love, separation, and grief. Here are some examples of Akkam and Silappatikaran, mainly the marital love, infidelity and betrayal, regret and reunion, suffering and grief, chastity and loyalty. The Akkam elements emphasize the personal and emotional journey of the characters, especially Kanagi's transformation from a devoted wife to a goddess. Second, we have the Puram themes deals with public action, justice, politics, and moral duty. It represents how personal experience influence society and governance. Y'all can refer the notes from the slides of the different aspects. That's a social injustice, public protest, divine justice, the role of king, and Kanagi's deification. One of the unique aspects of Silappatikaran is how Akkam and Puram are deeply interconnected. That's a personal emotion. Akkam leads to major societal consequences. Puram. I have made a separate chart of Akkam, that's the inner life, and the separate chart of Puram, outer life, so that y'all can understand it better with different points. Y'all can refer from the slide. Here are the major themes of the poetry. First, we have love and betrayal. The story revolves around Kovalan's love for two women, his devoted wife Kanagi and the courtesan Madhavi. Kovalan betrayal Kanagi by falling for Madhavi, leaving behind his life of wealth and comfort. However, he later realizes his mistake and returns to Kanagi, leading to an unfolding tragedy. Second, we have fate and destiny. The epic highlights how human actions are influenced by fate. Despite Kovalan's attempts to rebuild his life, fate leads him to Madurai, where he is falsely accused of theft and executed. Kanagi's destiny transforms her from a dutiful wife to a divine force of justice. Third, we have justice and injustice. Silappatikaram strongly criticizes wrongful punishment and miscarriage of justice. King orders Kovalan's execution without proper investigation, leading to devastating consequences. Kanagi proves Kovalan's innocence and demands justice, ultimately leading to a destruction of Madurai. Fourth, we have the power of women. Kanagi is portrayed as an ideal, strong, and determined woman. She transformed from a suffering wife to an avenging goddess, showing the resilience and strength of women in society. The epic also highlights Madhavi's struggles as she realizes her love for Kovalan was incomplete and later becomes a Buddhist nun. Fifth, we have divine intervention and morality. The story reflects the brief in divine justice. Kanagi's anger is so powerful that it brings divine wrath upon the city of Madurai. The epic reinforces that moral and ethical living is essential, and those who act unjustful will face divine consequences. Sixth, we have the transience of wealth and power. Kovalan, once a wealthy merchant's son, loses everything due to his attachment to worldly pleasures. The king, despite his power, faces ruin because of his hasty and unjust decision. The epic teaches that wealth and power are temporary, but virtues and righteousness endure. Seventh, we have societal and cultural aspect. The epic gives a deep insight into Tamil culture, tradition, and social structure during the Sangam period. It showcases different aspects of life, including trade, art, dance and music, religious belief, and gender roles. Right hand side, I had made a small chart, the different location which are mentioned in the poem. That's a Kurinci, the hill, Naithal, the seashore, Palai, the wasteland, Mulai, the forest, and Marutam, the lowland. Next, we have religious and philosophical elements. That's the first one is Jain and Buddhist influences. The epic shows Jain and Buddhist ideals. It emphasizes on non-violence and renunciation is seen in Madhava's choice to become a Buddhist nun. After realizing the impermanence of the worldly pleasure, the idea of detachment from marital life is portrayed in Kovalen's journey from wealth to asceticism. Next, we have the concept of bhakti. That's a Kanagi's unwavering devotion to her husband reflects Hindu ideals of bhakti, loving devotion. Her faith and righteousness ultimate transform her into a divine figure, much like Hindu saints and goddesses. The epic promotes the idea that pure devotion leads to divine recognition and power. Third, we have religious syncretism. CILAPPATIKARAM does not strictly adhere to one religion. It reflects Hindu, Jain, and Buddhist ideas, showing the pluralistic religion landscape of ancient Tamil Nadu. While Kanagi is later worshipped as a Hindu goddess, Jain and Buddhist elements are also woven into the story. Next, we have the role of women in religion and morality. Kanaki is deified as an incarnation of divine justice, much like Hindu goddesses such as Durga and Kali. Her transition from a grieving wife to a goddess of justice highlights the spiritual strength of women. Next, we have justice and divine retribution. CILAPPATIKARAM emphasized the moral responsibility of rules. The king's unjust decision to execute Kovalan leads to divine punishment, the destruction of Madurai by Kanagi's wrath. The burning of Madurai symbolizes the consequences of injustice, reinforcing the idea that truth and righteousness always prevail. Last, we have karma and fate. The epic strongly reflect the concept of karma where one's action determine their fate. Kovalan's downfall is seen as a result of his past action. Kanagi's suffering turned into a divine purpose. Fate is a recurring theme. Despite human efforts, destiny plays a crucial role in shaping their life's outcome. Next, we have the comparison of CILAPPATIKARAM with other epics like Ramayana and Mahabharata. Here, I have noted down the comparison of CILAPPATIKARAM and Ramayana. That's the author, the major themes, and the protagonist, major cause of tragedy, divine elements, and the moral lessons that we get from this. This is an additional information for your reference. This is a comparison with CILAPPATIKARAM and the Mahabharata as the major themes, conflict, faith and karma, role of women, and the scale. Next, we have the comparison with Iliad. That's a Greek epic by Homer. I'm sure you all are aware of the writer Homer. He is an ancient Greek poet who has written Iliad and the Odyssey, these two epic poems which are very famous. If you all want, you all can go through it, you can read about it. He has done a great contribution towards ancient Greek literature. Here I have done the comparison of CILAPPATIKARAM and the Iliad, the major themes, the events, the elements, female power, and the conflict between the two. Here I have mentioned the CILAPPATIKARAM's translation and the various writers, their works, and in which year they have written it, and all the details. These are the different languages and the translation that are done. That's in Sanskrit, Malayalam, Hindi, French. These are the different divine characters and immortalized characters. That's Lord Indra, Lord Shiva, Lord Murugan, Lord of Death, and immortalized are Kovalan, Kanaki, Vali. These are the major characters of the poem and their role in the poem. that's a Kovalan, the protagonist, Kanaki, the Kovalan's loyal wife, Madhavi, that's a famous courtesan, Chitravati, Madhavi's mother, Vasavadattai, Madhavi's female friend. Then we have king and queen of Panthia. Then we have Masatuvan, Kovalan's father, Madhari, Kovalan's mother, and Abigail. Now we will go towards the story of CILAPPATIKARAM, the tale of an anklet. That's a book 1. The story starts in Puhar, the Chola capital. Kanagi, a chaste woman, marries Kovalan, the son of a rich rice merchant, who was in deep love with each other. After marriage, Kovalan fall in love with Madhavi, a beautiful and talented courtesan dancer. What he does is that he leaves Kanaki and moves in with Madhavi. He spends all his wealth on her and forgets Kanaki. After losing his wealth and realize his mistake, Kovalan returned to his faithful wife, Kanagi, and she forgives him. On the day of the festival of Indra, rain god, there was a competition mostly for everyone, and he sings a song of love, of betrayal to the courtesan. They decide to move to Madurai to start fresh and earn money by selling precious Silambu, that's the anklet. Book 2. Kovalan and Kanagi arrives in Madurai, that's Pandya capital. Kovalan tries to sell anklet to a goldsmith. The goldsmith, who had earlier stolen the queen's anklet, frames Kovalan to cover his crime. Kovalan is wrongly accused of theft and executed by the king without proper investigation. Since he does not return to Kanagi, she goes and searches him everywhere. She comes to know what had happened with her husband. A devastated Kanagi proves her husband innocent by breaking open her remaining anklet, revealing its rubies, whereas the queen's anklet had pearls. Enraged Kanagi curses Madurai, and the city is set on fire by her divine wrath. The Pandya's king and queen dies in shock and guilt. In book 3, it is mentioned that god and goddesses meet Kanagi and she goes in heaven. The Chera king, Saint Gutuvan, hearing about her virtue, decide to build a temple in her honor. He undertakes a military expenditure to Himalayas to bring sacred stone for her idol. The book describes his journey, conquest, and the ceremonial installation of Patni Devi, that's a goddess of chastity. Kanagi is defined as Patni, and worship of chastity becomes central. I hope y'all have understood everything. If y'all have any doubts or queries, y'all can comment on the comment section. Please do like the videos and share with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe.